Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage and welcome to Cities Skylines. Yes, I've managed to get my hands on a copy of this game. It is published by Paradox Interactive, who I've been doing a lot of their games recently with EU4 and CK2, but it's developed by a company called Colossal Order, and those are the guys that brought you the Cities in Motion series, and this is their new city building game, which is due for release on the 10th of March 2015. So what I'm actually playing now is a pre-release copy. Now, I'm not going to do any sort of critique or review on this game until it's officially launched. Bear in mind that although I do that with pre-release games and early access, this game isn't on sale and available to the general public yet, so there is no sort of publicly playable version. So to that end, if you do see anything in this game which might be considered something that's a bug or something that is just placeholder, bear in mind it is not finished yet and they're going to be working on the game right up until release. So, if I'm not reviewing it, why am I here? I'm here because I absolutely love building cities and I could not wait to get my hands on this title. Haven't played any of it at all, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I've seen a few videos of other people playing it and I've read a lot about it, and I've got a fair bit of experience with other city building games from various different developers, but we're going to jump straight in. Literally all I've done is fire this game up, check that it's installed correctly, and just fiddle with the options. That is it. So we've got a few different cities that we can choose from under new game. Now there is a map editor bundled with the game, so you can edit your own maps. You can't mess around with the terrain in the game, but we're going to pick one of the ones that is already done for us. You can even choose whether you have left side traffic, which we'll definitely be going for because I live in the UK, so that just makes a lot of sense for me. So we can have a look at all these different maps that we've got to start on, and we've got some of the information down here at the bottom so we can see the different resources. I think that's oil, ore, fertile land, and forestry resources. 75% area suitable for building. There's a fair bit of water around, so we've got green plains, river run. 77% of the land is available for building. Black forest, there seems to be a lot of water there. Islands. Islands could be interesting, although I imagine that's going to be a lot of bridges, which might be expensive. Shady strands. Two rivers. Two rivers seems to be one that a lot of people do. There's a sandy beach one, and we've got the Diamond Coast, and there is also Lagoon Shore. I quite like the idea of doing River Run, because it sounds Game of Thronesy, doesn't it? Let's go ahead and put on left side traffic and hit that start button. We'll just jump in and start building a city. Two things I want to try and do, or avoid doing in this. First of all, I want to try and avoid building too fast and expanding too quickly, because let's just pause the game up straight away. We all know that expanding too quickly just causes you to run out of money. The second thing is I really want to try and avoid just having cities where everything is square, because it looks boring. I know it seems more optimal to try and min-max everything and just build straight roads and city grids, but I really want to try and avoid doing that wherever possible. So our building area is this white square here. Now it doesn't look all that big, but that's just our starting area. In fact, later on we can expand this and we can have a space that is 9 times the size of this square, so we can start buying adjacent squares, and they don't have to be the 9 adjacent squares either. We can go off in any direction really, so we've got plenty of space to build. We've got a river running through the middle here, so we've got a source of fresh water and somewhere to, you know, flush our toilets into. And we have 2 highway connections. We've got one coming in from this side. I don't think we've got a compass, so I can't really say north and south or whatever. But let's, for the sake of argument, turn the map this way and say that this is north of the river. It's a bit like London. You've got a river running through the middle. So we've got a motorway connection coming in from the north. And please forgive me if you're American and I keep saying motorway instead of highway. It's an English thing. And of course, you'll notice that by the fact that the traffic moves on the left, not on the right. So we've got these 3-lane highways, or 3-lane motorways, that come from the north and the south. Now, what I'm tempted to do is to actually keep these highways, or these motorways, going all the way through the city. I've seen a lot of people just sort of cut them off and turn them into normal roads. But what I want to try and do, if possible, is keep these highways going and just build some off-ramps and on-ramps. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, I've got the game paused. We've got a little bit of money to spend here. I don't want to go crazy, but let's see what we can do. Now, these are 3-lane highways. We should still be able to... we can't even extend the highway. That's a little bit of a shame. What I really wanted to do there was just extend these highways out and have an on-ramp or an off-ramp. I guess we can go ahead and do that later on. So what sort of roads can we build? All we can build is a 2-lane road at this point of the game. Well, that's a little bit boring, isn't it? Oh, well, we'll do that anyway. So we have some 2-lane roads. Now, the weird thing is as well, we can't even build the one-way street. Now we can build a one-way street. Because this makes absolutely no sense, having a two-way lane here when this is one direction only. So let's go ahead and do that. We will have a 2-lane one-way road. We need to delete this first of all. And let's build it. Let's go in this direction so far. I've got the grid lines on. Now, I did say that I don't want to make everything, like, straight. But at the same time, is that going to line up? Is that straight? Yeah, close enough. There we go. If it's not perfectly straight, and it isn't perfectly straight, of course it was never going to be, was it? Because I was doing it. That's going to upset me now. I've got to try and rebuild that. Are you snapping to grid lines? If I put the camera in the right place, I'd probably be able to tell a little better. No, that's definitely not right. There? No, there. Well, it's one or the other. It's not going to be particularly straight, whichever way we do it. But there we go. We have 2 roads, and they are both one way. And then what we could do is make that into a single 2-lane road. We've got the option of doing that. So if we were to say build a road in the middle, not too sure how this is going to go. Well, we could technically make that a 2-way road. Well, it is going to be yes, a 2-way road, and then we'll bring our main road off in this direction. Looks a little bit messy. It would have been nicer if we could have gone and built the highway, and we might change it later on and just build the highway straight through and just make little off-ramps and on-ramps, because I think that will make traffic a little bit better. So we've got roads. We can build straight roads and curved roads and all sorts of stuff like that, but what I'm going to do is start by building this road out. We can actually have the 4-lane roads here, and just thinking about it, it might be worth having a 4-lane road. They do cost a lot more money. They are very expensive. But that said, let's go ahead and do that anyway. Do we want to make this bit a 4-lane road? Probably wouldn't be a bad idea, would it? So we've got a 4-lane road running across there, which is absolutely massive. And then we want to have... You're not going to let me do that now, are you? How absolutely rude of you. Right, okay. Back to plan A it is then. We'll go across and do that. Now, will you let me build a 4-lane road off there, though? Or are you going to tell me that's not permissible? Yeah, I can't do that. That's a shame. Okay, well, at least it answers the question. It's just going to be a... well, we could have the 2-lane roads running up here, actually. That's not a bad idea. Now, this isn't This isn't utilising space efficiently. I completely and utterly understand that. That's fine. I don't mind if at least some of the city is on a grid. It makes sense to start off that way. So we're going to do it like that. It gives us a little bit of space to build. We want to try and avoid building too much off the roads that are one way if we can. So let us just build out to here. And we can go ahead and build some additional roads. Look at me avoiding building grid-shaped cities as I build this grid-shaped city. Okay, down to there. So you got these handy little grid lines, and if you always follow these grid lines, then you are maximizing the space that you can zone buildings in, which is really nice. So if we go down to there, and well, we just go all the way really. There we go. So we've got all this space that we can use. So, right, let's go ahead and start getting some housing in. So we need to zone ourselves a little bit of residential. So I think that these two areas here should definitely be residential, and we'll get a little bit of commercial going on there in the middle. Now, we're also going to need to get ourselves some water and some electricity. It's very important to know which way the water's flowing. Water's flowing in that direction to the west, so I guess it's not like London, because the water's flowing in the wrong direction. I'm going to ignore this road connection down here for the time being. I might actually start a second little town down on the south coast. We'll have to see how that goes. But for now, we're going to be doing this this way around. We are going to need to get some facilities connected up, such as water and electricity, because of course we do need power. We could go ahead and just build a massive power plant, but I think in the early days it's not too unreasonable just to have a few wind turbines. They are cheaper, and we're not going to have a massive city. Now, you see that orange circle? It's a bit hard to see because it blends in with the sort of bluey grey of the terrain quite nicely. But that orange circle is noise pollution. That if this is close to people's houses, they're not going to be happy. It makes a lot of noise. I think I'd like to have the industry over on this side as well. So let's go ahead and put down one of these wind turbines. Now, the good thing is that trees do actually reduce noise pollution as well as normal pollution as well. But we do have electricity available. We do need to get that electricity over to our houses. So what we're going to do, we're going to choose the pylon, and we need to drop it in. And again, it's probably really difficult to see on YouTube, but there is a slightly different coloured area on the floor close to the turbine, and we're going to connect the pylon to that so that it is within the electricity, and we're going to move it over to where our properties are going to be. Now, it doesn't need to be connected to every individual household, so that is fine. A couple of things that we are going to need here. We're going to need water. Now, we could just go straight ahead and put in a water pumping station. What's the difference in price that we've got? So, 3,500 for the water tower with 240 a week versus no pollution, no noise pollution. What? Okay, I'm a little bit... why would I want the water tower then? The water tower costs more to build. They use the same amount of electricity, they create the same amount of noise pollution, but the water tower costs more to build. It's the same weekly upkeep, and the water pumping station can pump more water. I guess we're going to have a water pumping station. Downside, of course, is that you're going to have to make it travel further, the pipage, that is. We could put a water tower right next to the city, but what we're going to do over here, we are going to take our water pumping station, and we are going to go and put that on the water over here upstream. And we are going to take our water drain pipe and put that over here downstream. And that's very important because the water does flow in this game. And the last thing we want is poop in your drinking water. So what we need to do is connect up these pipes. Now, pipes do run in pairs, and they can go under the river, which is quite nice. So you only need to have one pipe. Well, it's not one pipe, it's two pipes. Don't worry, they're not flushing the lavatory down the pipe that the drinking water comes out of. But we will take a pipe from there up to our city. Now, the darker blue area that you can see is the area that's actually served by the... how do I rotate the camera? There we go. The darker blue area is the area that's served by the pipes. So we're just going to make sure that we've got all of our city covered. I think we'll go from here. Will that reach? It doesn't matter if there's a bit of overlap, although it's hardly min-maxing. So let's go and do that. So that's all of the area covered apart from this bit near the beginning of the motorway. There we go. So we have water. Now we can unpause the game. So let's go ahead and do that. And we've got this little tweet guy up here that gives us little messages from our local population. So hopefully now we'll start to get some people moving in. The reason why I do that first bit paused when I'm messing around with the roads is because we're not actually making any money. Obviously, building roads costs upkeep, and if you don't have any people living in the city at that point, then you're actually spending money for nothing. So always pause while you build your initial roads. That would be my advice. We don't have any population at all yet. So we will... we're starting to get people moving in, though. Well, we've got buildings appearing. We could speed the game speed up. The game runs down here in the bottom corner, so you can see the clock going away there. And Yeah, it looks like we're going to be full of houses. We might actually need to zone some more residential. In fact, we've got a high demand for it. Let's go ahead and do that. Got some useful tools. We can actually paint block by block if we want, and we can also use these different sort of paintbrush tools just to paint different areas. But as we've got this handy little grid block, let's just go and use the fill tool, and that makes life a little bit easier. So they're all just moving into this one area. They don't actually have power at the moment because they've decided to move into the area that is furthest away from the power line. So I'm just going to connect up to the existing power lines, which is having a bit of a fit because of where it's placed next to the road. So let's just go over there. We'll bring that across the road to this side, and then we will bring that down over here to the houses. And if I dump it there, it's going to bulldoze someone's house, but hopefully, if I bring it close enough, it should provide power. Will it provide power there? Or is it still too far away? I think it is still slightly too far away. Do we have power coming from the turbine? It looks like we do. Not plugged into anything though. So let's carry on. This is going to bulldoze somebody's house, and that will make them unhappy, but oh well. There we go. So now we should definitely have power going into the properties. Yeah, we've got power coming in now. That is fantastic. Fresh water, power. Got some of the commercial areas starting to move in as well now. We'll probably get some more commercial running along here. Now, we are going to have some call for industry as well. Now, we've got to be careful here because the last thing we want to end up doing is getting the roads all clogged up as well. People are starting to move in. We've got 103 population already. We're still not making any money. So we do have to get quite a few people moved in. People are generally happy. People complaining about blackouts. Seriously, are we... No, we must be producing enough power. Yeah, we're well over a capacity on power, so that's not a problem at all. And the water, we're well over capacity there. So we've got more than enough for what we need. Now, are we going to go ahead and put some industry in? And if we do, where are we going to go and put it? We can't really build any more on-ramps, off-ramps here. I really would have liked to have just created that motorway running all the way through, but never mind. Let's go ahead and take probably a 4-lane road. And this might end up causing some major bottlenecks because we've got to get onto and off of the on-ramp here. Now we can't. Yeah, it's outside of the city limits. I was just wondering if you could actually make additional connections on this highway, and you can't. Although later on we could buy that square, and if we buy that square, then we can build on that. So that is definitely a possibility. But as it happens at the moment, the only option we've got is to build from here. So I think we'll just stick for a 2-lane road. This is my first city, and it may end up being a complete disaster, but there you go. Let's move out in this direction so we can have a little bit of industry over here. And again, this is going to be one of those grids that I promised not to build. But that's fine. And if we go down the middle, that's not the middle. Is that the middle? There we go, that's the middle. So this is going to be a little bit of... We're actually getting quite a good demand for industry at the moment. That's the wrong one. It's the yellow one. So let's put our industry in there. Now, again, they're also going to need water and power as well. So let's get our water pipe and run that down here. Doesn't quite reach where we wanted it to, but that's fine. We'll probably build a few more buildings and things down here as well. So that will do that. Let's go ahead and take those pylons as well. It's this button down here. So we are going to need to bring that all the way down. And we will connect that into our industrial zone. Fantastic, there we go. We'll tidy it all up later as things progress. I think we might end up actually needing a little bit more space here. So let's go ahead and do that. And then just for variety on this one, I think we'll have the road going across in the middle, and we'll drop down some more industrial area there. So there and there. I think we'll also have some industrial just along the back road here. How far up do we want to go with that? Let's take it up to about level with the road there. We won't build in that direction, at least I doubt we will anyway. And we could have a little bit more residential on this side. I mean, there's no reason why people wouldn't want to live close to the industry. Obviously not too close, but the workers are going to have to live fairly close. This area is probably not going to get water now either. So we'll just have, that's electricity, you moron. Oh, most of it's covered. There's just a tiny little bit that isn't. We can, if we actually drag this pipe this way, then it'll cover more of the area. If we build it up to there and then drag it across, there we go. It's not straight, live with it. I know there are grid lines on. I'm like one of the only people that can play a game that uses snap to grid lines and still manage to build something that isn't straight. Is this implying that they aren't getting water? No, we're actually short of water now. That's quite interesting. It's because the water pumping stations themselves don't have power. That is very interesting and something that I hadn't necessarily realised. Okay, well, we're running very short of money now, so we've got to be careful, but we are going to connect up the power lines, and this is probably another reason why it's useful to have the water towers, because the water towers do make things a lot cheaper. So are we just going to build these straight through the river? Looks like we are. I'd prefer not to do that. There we go. Okay, well that's spent quite a lot of our money, but at least now everything should have power and we should have water. Obviously it's very important to keep our eye on this little thing up here. What's with the waterworks? Showering with bottled water is getting a bit expensive. A blackout again. I can't even call or email the electricity company when there's no power. Well, our telephones work when there's no power. So this is a really strange city. Okay, we're getting some industry now. You can actually go right down and zoom quite far in on everything here, which is really nice. The buildings really do have a good look about them. I'm going to speed the game speed up a little bit. I think we'll actually go up to +3. We've got more people moving in. We're still not making any money. We are taking a loss, but we are getting more people moved in, which is a very, very good thing. And we've got more houses popping up all the time. And if we go ahead and click on these houses, we can actually see who lives in there. Now, some of these buildings do actually contain multiple households, so it's just because, you know, it's trying to get as many people in the city as possible. We can rename districts, but we're not going to bother doing anything like that just yet. Privately funded spacecraft. Oh, I missed that one. So we can see how many people live in each house. We can see how educated they are as well. We've got some children. We've got some adults. Everyone's uneducated here, though, and these guys are unhappy. But I don't know why they're unhappy. I mean, in general, the population is happy. We've got a few properties here that don't seem to be connected to power, and that's because our power availability is low. It's not because they don't actually have a connection. We need to actually go in and consider dropping another turbine and put them as close together as humanly possible. There we go. That should be enough. Wow, we're still too low. We might just have to get a power plant in quite quickly. But these are relatively cheap. We've reached an achievement. We are now a little hamlet. We've reached a population of 460. So we can now take out loans and set taxes. We've got new services available to us, the garbage, healthcare and education. So we can build elementary schools, we can build medical clinics, and we can build landfill sites. But as we've just hit a milestone, it's probably a good place to end this video. So when we come back on the next video, we'll start placing some of those buildings. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hope you're enjoying City Skylines. And I'll see you on the next video. Until then, goodbye for now.